Hinchas poderosos, welcome to another edition of the Independiente Medellin English podcast. I am your humble host, Zach Neese, currently residing 2 kilometers from the stadium right here in Laureles. Um, Guys, last night was absolutely crazy. I I have a lot of thoughts and they're hard to keep organized right now, especially from the standpoint of Independiente Medellin really concerned me on a lot of different things for this game. One of the things that I think was absolutely brutal regarding this game was it was a tale of two halves. So if you only watch the first half and rage quit, um, yeah, Jesus Christ. Like we'll get into all that. But first, let's start out with the officials. There was a story this week whether or not Independiente Medellin would actively play this game. There was talk that they might not show up. They had concerns about Nicolas Gallo, who was an official that kind of didn't call a fair game for us in the final last year against Junior. And there was some concern that he would potentially affect the match. And with us trying to classify into the eight, which by the way, we are very close to doing, um, there was a lot of concerns regarding him and his performance. Now, we actually, like I said in my last podcast episode, Independiente Medellin sent a group of folks up to the league to try to get Nicholas removed. The league stuck by him. I'm sure there were eyes on this, and it was whether it was formally or informally told to him, like, hey, don't mess around today. So, quick reaction on that front. I think that really hurt us, and I think we saw it in the game. I think Nicolas Gallo was not the problem. The problem is Independiente Medellin showed up to this game absolutely unprepared. There's some talk about how we don't perform in high altitude cities, but I don't personally buy into that excuse. Like you play in Bogota twice a year, it's higher up than this place. Um, you know, Minimal twice a year because Fortaleza's there too. So, I don't buy into this whole, well, we're a low altitude team. What happened was we had a lot of distractions going into this game, and I think that reflected it in the final score. Or it reflected in the first half. And so for when you want to make excuses, it kind of felt like Independiente Medellin maybe didn't believe in themselves. They were facing a team who is currently facing relegation. And I'll be honest, Patriotas Boyacá, they wanted this game more than we did. And for us to win in dramatic fashion, which we'll get into, we'll give breakdowns and all that good stuff here in a minute. Um, for us to really focus in on that is kind of crazy. Like we look like a team who spent all of their efforts just trying to change a referee rather than actively pursuing potentially like good game strategy. That's not a slam on Arias. I think anybody who watches that game today probably feels the same way. We looked really bad. I know Twitter was absolutely reacting to what was going on. And yeah, what a crazy game. So let's get into that. So if you watch this game in the first half and turned off the TV, you would probably believe that Independiente Medellin lost this match. And so what I mean by that is we looked absolutely terrible. So first half was all Boyacá. I've never seen the Patriotas. I have never seen us absolutely shit the bed. And for us to do that as a team against a team that was facing relegation is quite sad. Pretty early on, Sebastian Ayala, he went out, scored the first goal, did something that I thought was completely classless, which after for a celebration, he dog walked over to the corner and pretended that he was a dog that was peeing on the flag in the corner. Cool celebration, I guess. Major Randy Moss vibes for those of you who follow American football. Um, And so I was like, okay, whatever. We've had some problems at the goalie position. Chunga, I mean, we need Chunga back. Like, even if we classify, I think goalie position's probably going to be what is our undoing. Not that there's anything wrong with our current goalie in the goal right now. I think he's trying. You can never fault this guy. You can say a lot of things, but he definitely was trying but not succeeding. So there's opportunities for improvement. Obviously, we can't bring out anybody this late in the season and have any measurable or any reasonable success with that role. But this is the part where everything went really sideways. Diego Ruiz, um, Diego Ruiz scored an absolute dagger on us. I mean, this was an ugly, ugly, ugly goal, and brought the lead up for the Patriotas 2-0. And so, looking at that, I was watching it at Mercado Punto Verde. Shout out Mercado Punto Verde, where I watch all of the away games. So if you guys ever want to come hang out, watch an away game when we're on the road, please, I welcome you. It's going to be a great time. That being said, like at that point, all the other fans of the team and all that good stuff, like there was just not, we weren't happy. And so, Medellin looked like a team that had no game plan, no goalie, they were just hoping to survive. And, you know, Patriotas Boyacá, they're looking to avoid relegation. They came up this year. They're looking to not go back down to Categoria B in the second year. And so they played like a team that had nothing to lose. Now we're trying to classify, and we just thought we could maybe go in there and run roughshod over them. And unfortunately, that was just not something we could do. We looked absolutely brutal. Um, yeah, I just at the end of the first half, I for sure thought we were going to be eliminated from classification. So, that was first half. It was just not a great situation for anybody involved. Combine this with the fact that Jairo Moreno was not playing, and I think he's obviously our best player right now. Like it just wasn't looking good for El Poderoso. That being said, we have a whole second half to go. And this is why I say, do you believe in miracles? This team came out, Arias, Professor Arias made all the adjustments that we needed to do. I looked at the stats for the game. We had 40% possession in the first half, which means we were absolutely getting bodied. And most of the time we looked lost trying to push up the cancha and to try to be able to actively go out and create an offense opportunity for ourselves. We looked terrible. But in the second half, our possession was over 60%, meaning about two-thirds of the time we were in control of the ball. There wasn't a whole lot of, it was controlled. It wasn't a whole lot of, well, we'll just launch it and hope somebody can come down, bounce it off their chest, and attack the goal. So, we look at this. Jhon Vásquez scored in the 75th minute. Monsalve scored as well, and then Ménder García scored in the last minute of the game. So the order of that's a little bit off. Monsalve scored the first goal. We went up 1-0, or I'm sorry, 2-1, and I was like, okay, we need to at least tie to have an opportunity. So I thought, all right, vamos a tener un empate, and everything would kind of work out. And then we'd have an opportunity in El Clásico and again con Envigado. But then Jhon Vásquez, minute 75, 15 minutes left to go, scores a goal, bounces it. I mean, it was barely a goal, guys. Like, this barely crossed into the threshold, but it is a goal nonetheless. Independiente Medellin tied the game in the 75th minute, 2-2. And then, my friends, in the last minute, minute number 89, when I'm starting to think, okay, at least we're walking out with a tie. It's a little bit embarrassing, but it's the second best option that we could have possibly hoped for. Ménder García scores the winning goal in the last minute before extra time. And Medellin takes it. At the where I was at, Mercado Punto Verde, again, I will always shout out this business. Their people, Freddie, he's a fan of America de Cali, but he's a great guy and he always hosts a great game. That being said, the place exploded. I was probably with 10 other Independiente Medellin fans, hinchas poderosos, and when I tell you that the guaro was flowing because we couldn't believe that we had done that. Now, obviously, I think we had 6 minutes left and extra time to go. Um, I will say we didn't play the most aggressive in those 6 minutes. We were playing definitely not to lose, but Arias drew up a decent defensive scheme, and I think that we walked away with the win. And so for that, I am eternally grateful because I I have no words. Like, as frustrating as this team can be, and this team is frustrating. We are a young team. We lost four of our best players. We lost Torres, we lost Pons, and however you feel about Pons, Pons was pretty vital to our success last year. And of course, we lost Marmolejo. Now, I have been an outspoken critic of Marmolejo, but he has done very well in Santa Fe, and we could use him in the goal right now. So we miss those teams. Um, that being said, I'm excited that we won our game. So, we're heading into El Clasico with a little bit of momentum. We've won our last four games, three games. And we beat the number one team, which is now the second place team, Atletico Bucaramanga. And so, we struggle against bad teams. And so, let's kind of explore that a little bit. And of course, what I mean is like tenemos un frase en los Estados Unidos. We are a caliber team. And so when we play really good teams, we play really well. We That game with Atletico Bucaramanga, which by the way should have been 2-0. That was not offsides. That game with Atletico Bucaramanga, like we looked like we could play anybody in the league. And then we go against a team that's facing relegation, and I think that we just don't show the same energy, especially for a team that's trying to classify. So, we played pretty poorly. And again, I hate to keep repeating the same thing. We are, that was a tale of two halves. And the first half worked out really well for Patriotas Boyacá. Um, but the second half was all El Poderoso. So it ends up working out. And so, looking now, besides us, I think the team that is definitely the most thrilled with this development is Deportivo Cali. Because had Boyacá won, Cali would be with 2 games left to go in the relegation zone here. That being said, this was all about Independiente Medellin. So we're going to look at the table and kind of talk about that. So after last night, let's take a look at the table. So as you guys can see here, Independiente Medellin is now in ninth place with 25 points. Now, it's interesting to note that the Millonarios Junior, who are currently sitting at seventh and eighth, have the same amount of points as us. However, that goal differential is going to come back to haunt us. We have gotten our ass kicked in every loss. And so when I look at this, I see, we have a negative 10 goal differential. Meaning our opponents have outscored us by 10 goals over the course of the season. So when we lose badly. That being said, Junior's sitting at 2. The Millonarios are sitting at a goal differential of positive 4. And so, it's going to be hard for us to get in there. And we need to, I don't think Caldas is catchable. We have 6 points left that we can score. So, like, there's 6 points up for grabs. We need to win El Clásico and we need to win against Envigado. El Clásico, you never know. I think we are going to beat it. Nacional is struggling current state. But Envigado. If we don't win against Envigado, we've got a lot more problems. So that being said, they're sitting at 16th, and then of course Nacional sitting at 13th, with 16 points and 20 points respectively. But our path into our path into the eight, right? I'm just going to call it the eight because this is an English podcast. But to classify, I think our path is to be in that seventh or eighth spot. And so, I don't think we're going to catch Caldas. we're definitely not going to catch Equidad, even though that's probably, yeah, no, we're not going to catch Equidad. Sorry. So that being said, let's look at the schedule. So for the Millonarios, they have 3 games left. I'm looking at them now. So tomorrow they will play Deportivo Pereira. Pereira is playing really well right now. I don't personally hate that matchup. They're in the 4th spot, so there might be an opportunity for us to jump ahead if they lose and we win El Clásico. And then we have Boyacá Chicó, which is, I don't know enough about them to make a prediction, but Millonarios are pretty solid. I think they'll be okay. And then they end the season with, oh no, that's it. They only have 2 more games. Okay. So, Boyacá Chico and Pereira. I think if Pereira wins and we win out, we're going to take that spot away from the Millonarios, which is great. But the more interesting one, in my opinion, is the opportunity to knock Junior out, right? I'm pissed about last year. I want to knock Junior out of classification. I want Independiente Medellin to be, I want to eliminate Junior. That's I'm petty. I want to eliminate Junior. That being said, I'm looking at their schedule. They have 2 more games left. They have Deportivo Cali, which they're probably going to win unless if you back Deportivo Cali into a corner and they're looking at relegation, you never know. And then they have Once Caldas. And so, like, realistically, that game's tomorrow, by the way, at 6 o'clock. I would like to see Once Caldas beat Junior. And I think Once Caldas is a good team. I would not want to be in their group if we classify. That being said, I would like Junior to be eliminated. Junior's a dangerous team, and they're the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of Categoria Primera A. But I would like to see us potentially, uh, I'd like to see us get in. So my prediction, really, everything kind of hinges on Sunday. Everything hinges on Sunday. I know that, you know that. We're going to beat Envigado. Like, I don't see a situation in which Envigado, who actually has a better goal differential than us, I don't see a situation in which Envigado doesn't win, or we don't win against Envigado. The question is El Clásico Paisa. This Sunday, which by the way is my birthday, we play Atlético Nacional. And this is for all the marbles, right? We can't classify if we don't beat Nacional on Sunday. I will be at that stadium. We'll be doing a different version of this podcast where I'm not just sitting in front of a camera. We're actually going to go out and film. I'll post it here, and everything will kind of work out that way. But if we don't, if we beat Nacional and either Junior or the Millonarios lose, right? And again, Junior's next game is with Once Caldas, and the Millonarios are with Pereira. Both of those situations are entirely possible. Independiente Medellin is going to classify. That puts us at 28 points versus 25 if they lose or tie. Even if they tie, we classify. We would jump them. So we have to win. I mean, obviously we want to beat Atlético Nacional. It's El Clásico Paisa. But that being said, we have to win if we have any shot at classifying. So this Sunday is probably the most important Clásico Paisa for Independiente Medellin, right? Atlético Nacional, they're eliminated. I don't see a way. You would have to have several teams absolutely collapse for them to classify. Like at 20 points, they could get to 26, which puts them in 7th or 8th now, but that would assume every team above them loses. And I think the biggest casualty of all this, like I'm looking at playoff scenarios right now, America de Cali is absolutely the one. Unfortunately, they're the first out. Like last night, they tied. Last night they tied with Pasto, and Pasto is not a good team. And I'm sorry for my friends who are hinchas de America de Cali, but you just don't bounce back from that. And so, that's really unfortunate when you think about it because, America looked like a really good team this year. I think they're the first out. They're actually below us in the table right now by 1 point. So you never know. Even let's just do a quick thing. Looking at their schedule, they have Caldas for the last game of the season, and they have Santa Fe. And I just don't foresee a situation in which America had to beat Pasto last night and they just didn't. They tied. So, you can feel how you want to feel about that last goal call that was called offsides, but at the end of the day, they're just not going to classify. So, that being said, guys, you know, El Clásico, this is going to be a crazy El Clásico for us. And what I mean by that is if we don't win, Nacional gets a chance to play spoiler. Now, I don't want them to play spoiler. I want us to win. I want us to walk away feeling like we're about to dominate, but you never know. So I'm gonna bring this video to a close. I'll do probably another touch point on Saturday before going a little bit more in depth to Atlético Nacional and the Clásico Paisa. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this. Please share this podcast for any of your English speaking friends or people that just want practice learning or listening to English. And I'll see you guys at El Clásico. So, peace.